Hi everyone, welcome back to the monthly Astro forecast for the month of June. So happy to see you guys. Let me know where you are watching this from and what you are doing on this beautiful Sunday. Of course, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe here at the Beyond Mystic platform on YouTube. And of course, also here on Rumble. And if you guys want to book in a personal astrology session, then you can, of course, book that at the Beyond Mystic consultation page. And you can also use Beyond Mystic to get 10% off. All right, let's look at the month of June, you guys. I've actually got some very positive news for the month of June. It's gonna be a month of more of relaxation. I think we can all kind of agree upon the fact that as March and April were pretty rough, May was like an in between, but now June is gonna get way more easy because we also got the two benefics, Jupiter and Venus, are about to line up and make a conjunction in the sky. We, of course, also have our blue moon today on the 31st of May. Of course, that is a full moon in the sign of Sagittarius, and it's the second full moon in 1 month of time. That is also why it's a blue moon. It's also a super moon. So we've actually got a lot to cover in this month's forecast because we will have a new moon in the sign of Gemini and we will also see a full moon in the sign of Capricorn. So hi Stain and Cree Design and hi Chris Cole from California doing some gardening and coffee on this beautiful Sunday. That sounds very cool. And hi, John. Yeah, May 31st. It's a kind of mind blower. I understand what you're talking about. And John and everyone else, this month, Uranus will also square the nodes of fate. And that is quite revolutionary as well. So, hi, Marybeth. Very great to see you again as well. All right, let's get into it. Because June, it has a lot of things to offer and actually a lot of positivity. But let's start very quickly with today, because of course, doing this monthly forecast on a full moon, well, we need to touch on that very quickly as well, of course. So we have a full moon in a sign of Sag today, and it's actually a pretty special one because full moons are of course always times of culminations, and in the sign of Sagittarius that is of course about our beliefs, higher wisdom. It's about expansivism, optimism, hope, faith. It's actually a pretty awesome one, you guys. And the fact that it also happens at 9 degrees is a Sagittarius degree. So there's like a double dose of Sag fire and a double dose of amplification and expansivism. And of course, Sag is also connected to law, religion, spirituality, and it kind of pushes humanity into a bigger and deeper search for truth and meaning. So Sag is, of course, the cosmic explorer, and it always wants to like expand beyond the limitations, and it also would like to discover what lies beyond the horizon. So this is a full moon to zoom out and look at the 40,000 feet view, to really keep in mind that everything has a divine plan and also a divine timing. But what makes this full moon especially potent, you guys, that is the fact that it squares the nodes of fate. Here we can see the south node in Virgo and the north node in Pisces. So that means that this full moon is actually happening right in between eclipse seasons because it squares the nodes. So this full moon carries an extra potent flavor of karmic destined energy that gets triggered here. So yeah, it's actually a pretty interesting full moon. So really look at what's going on. I guess that this is going to be a very big one for aviation, international travel, and also, of course, education systems, universities. But Sag is always dealing with foreign affairs and like international diplomacy as well. So we can see a lot of unexpected geopolitical developments that this is going to trigger. So, of course, if we then look at and maybe before I go too fast, this full moon is, of course, very important if you're a mutable sign. So, the mutable signs are, of course, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. If you're one of those four signs, then you're more like in the direct line of fire, but in a positive way as it squares the nodes. So let me know how you guys are doing with the energy of this full moon. My dreams have been kind of crazy to say the least. So, with that being said, let's look at June's forecast. So, yeah, John, exactly. Full moons do make someone to howl. That is very well said, John. That is definitely the case. Of course, if we look at June, then we can see on June 1st, so tomorrow, Mercury is going to enter Cancer. And Cancer is a very emotional water sign. And you guys, Mercury is going to stay there for an ample of time because it's going to go retrograde as well this month. So the emotional tone is going to shift. And Mercury, of course, is about our communication, our thinking style. And in the sign of Cancer, it's like our emotions are going to overrule our logic thinking. So it's very important to have these honest, heartfelt conversations and to maybe have some important talks with family members or about your home or what's happening inside of the house. That is all going to be very, very important because we're gonna be communicating for a very long time, you guys, actually until almost the end of July with the Mercury retrograde. The communicative tone is gonna shift to like memories and emotions and our instinct. And it can also be a very reminiscing because Cancer also deals with the past. So, of course, yeah, beautiful transit for heartfelt conversations, for healing within family, and actually also reconnecting with the past. And it's also very beautiful for speaking from a way more vulnerable place. So, on June 4th, we can see Mercury squared Neptune at 4 degrees of Cancer. Now, Mercury square Neptune, that is also like, that is mostly very elusive. It can be a little bit tricky. And we have John that says Cancer moon here. Oh, that is so beautiful. People with a Cancer moon, they are so sweet and so caring. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. And Mary Beth says, I'm a Cancer and I know I have to really keep myself a little more under control. Well, Cancer, they are like the mama bird. They just like take everyone under their wings. They make sure everyone is well fed, being taken care of. They're really the mamas of the zodiac, of course. So, yeah, very important for you, John, and also Mary Beth with the Mercury retrograde, and a very important sign for you guys. Chris says the card of June is the Two of Cups. Well, that is so beautiful, the Two of Cups. Who doesn't like that card? It's really about connection and relationships. And actually, Chris, this is so important because I think you've pulled the Two of Cups because we are going to see Jupiter and Venus, the two benefics, going towards their conjunction on June 9th. So that is a very applicable card for this month's energy indeed. Yes, Stain, you are a Cancer rising, a Mercury retrograde over your rising sign. That is also going to be very important. You are going to have a very important conversation that can share, that can change a lot of things. So, with that being said, Mercury square Neptune, not the best time to actually sign contracts because Neptune can really cause a lot of, yeah, it's like very confusing energy. So Mercury, of course, it wants clarity, it wants the facts, but Neptune, it kind of dissolves all of the certainty. So this is a very big transit for misunderstandings, misinformation, also confusion, and it's going to get a little bit worse this one, as we are also about to see a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Cancer, of course. So be a little bit more careful for deception and emotional projection. And of course, Cancer also deals with the housing market, with the place of our actual residence. So not the best time to make very big decisions in regards to your home. The entire month, especially of July, is not good for moving with the Mercury retrograde because there can be a lot of issues with mortgages, loans, signing papers, especially connected to your home and family. So be a little bit more mindful about that, especially nearing the end of the month, as we then will see the Mercury retrograde. But June 4th is also a date to really take that into accountability. So, um, verify everything, wait for clarity, and yeah, if you sense something, be careful that you do not project fear or misunderstandings from the past during this time. Of course, Mercury square Neptune, we're going to see a lot of confusion within major news headlines, propaganda, leaks, scandals, a lot of problems in transportation. So that is definitely like going to be the sneak peek about what's to happen with the Mercury retrograde. Then on June 9th, oh my God, you guys, I have been waiting for this day. I've been counting down the days, you guys. We're almost there. On June 9th, we see the Venus conjunct Jupiter at 25 degrees of Cancer. Oh my God, you guys, I am so happy for this. And of course, this is like the best aspect and one of the best days of the entire year of 2026. We're going to see another very lucky day. That will be on the 29th of July when the Sun will conjunct Jupiter in Leo. But this one is, of course, Venus, the planet of love, harmony, and all the finer things in life will be meeting up with Jupiter, the one that expands everything, makes everything bigger. And it can be like an explosion or like yeah, it just like all the beautiful things get bigger and better than we can even imagine. So this is actually a very welcoming transit to see, one that I have been waiting on for a very long time. And of course, this is about blessings and abundance and opportunities and harmony and growth. And it can bring a lot of sweetness into our lives. So, of course, Jupiter, it is all about faith and optimism and wisdom and prosperity. So, yeah, when these two meet, they actually created the most fortunate combination in astrology, because the universe is like temporarily gonna turn up the volume on all of the goodwill and compassion and emotional fulfillment and generosity. So that is actually very cool. Yes, Mary Beth, it sounds very exciting, and I'm very happy that we're almost there. Because honestly, last year, if you remember, and if you have been following me for quite some time, last year we also had a Venus Jupiter conjunction in a sign of Cancer, but then it was really tightly square Saturn. And Saturn was really a party pooper last year, and it is just like it was dampening and refraining and like slowing down the beautiful like benefits of this conjunction. Well, this time around, the square is, of course, still palpable because Saturn is, of course, in Aries, but it's not as exact anymore. So it's like more than 10 degrees off. So Saturn is not able anymore to put its refraining effect on these beautiful blessings this year. So, of course, this is a once in a 12-year activation. And Jupiter is also exalted in the sign of Cancer. So something really good is trying to happen. So I'm actually very open to receiving all the blessings of the universe and really look what's going on in your life around that specific time frame. I would say the 8th until the 11th of June, the energy is really into play. And of course, Cancer, it's very emotional, and it's of course also about our intuition, and it can be about emotional abundance as well. If you are a Pisces, Sagittarius, but also Taurus or Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising, then that is, and of course also Cancer, it's in your sign, then that is very, very positive for you, of course. So yeah, something good is trying to happen. And of course, Cancer, it is connected also to family roots, our ancestry, where we feel we belong. It can also be about emotional security and protection, nourishment, caregiving. All of that belongs to Cancer. So it's going to be deeply personal. And um, instead of focusing on like this outward success, this one is more about like what makes us feel seen and safe and heard, and where do we feel we belong. So Yes, Stain, we all need to be willing to receive, because a lot of people are afraid of success. And that is also something that can come up during this transit. Maybe something so overwhelmingly good is going to happen, and maybe some people are going to be a little bit afraid of it because we're not used to these blissful energies. If you look at previous months, there were a lot of harsh squares. Well, this month that will not be as much the case. We only see a Mercury square Saturn here next transit. But overall, the month of June is going to be way lighter. And yeah, it can feel like too good to be true. But maybe we need to be able to surrender and really receive the abundance of the universe. So, yeah. Chris says, Astrid, what does the chart say? Second half of June, financial emptiness, transforming and finding balancing. Well, the second half of June, it's especially the first half of June that is going to be extremely blissful. We're going to get to the second half of June in a minute. But definitely transforming energy, but then in regards to Venus. So, yeah, relationships and money, as you are saying, Chris Cole. All right. So, if you look at Venus, Jupiter, I'm going to switch over to the chart for the US because actually this one is pretty important for the US. We can see here that the Venus Jupiter conjunction falls directly on Mercury. So, this is the natal chart of the US. So, they have Mercury in Cancer, or the States has Mercury in Cancer in the eighth house. And Jupiter, Venus are gonna bless planet Mercury. And of course, what's also significant, we're seeing a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Cancer. So, very close by their own natal Mercury here. That is gonna be such a prominent month for the States, definitely, and connected to all of the mercurial things, of course. And of course, like between June 5th and 14th, something very positive is trying to happen here for the States. And of course, there can be a very important announcement or a breakthrough that is connected to mercurial themes for the US. And of course, Mercury, it is about the exchange of information, but it also rules over commerce, trade, trade agreements, logistics, transportation networks. So there can also be a very important negotiation. And I think there can be a very important trade agreement being made, that is going to be very important. Or previous trade agreements are going to be reviewed, reassessed, and are hopefully going to have a better impact over the next few months. Of course, if you look at the situation that's going on in the Middle East, when we see Venus, Jupiter together, then there is trying, or there's like an energy that is trying to form a kind of peace negotiation or some kind of peace deal. That is also in the cards here. So, of course, I really think we can expect a major trade agreement or some kind of investment deal. Yeah, there can be some kind of diplomatic breakthrough. So I'm really looking forward to see how that is going to play out. If you then look at the chart for the president Donald Trump, then this one is actually also very important because Venus Jupiter is actually being conjunct his natal Venus Saturn conjunction. So this is another important transit here for the president of the US. So of course, there may be an important announcement, some kind of development that is going to place him in a very favorable position. Venus Jupiter, it always like is connected to moments of optimism and confidence and some kind of public celebration. So I think there's going to be some kind of major announcement that is really going to be presented as a significant success or some kind of like, yeah, victory. That could definitely be the case here. So could be about an economic partnership or some kind of investment initiative. Of course, Venus also rules over his third house, so yeah, he's going to announce third house communication, something very important. Could also be connected to politics, the 11th house, important business deals with important business people here, while he also sees his Mercury return. Yeah, he's gonna be having some very important news to share, honestly. And Donald Trump's chart is actually very interesting for the coming time, because we can also see that we just had a full moon, or today we're having a full moon in the sign of Sagittarius. He has a moon in a sign of Sagittarius. So in the fourth house, very much about patriotism, and that is definitely going to be a very big key theme for the month for the States. Also, then we can also see that Uranus is going to square the nodes of fate. That is also a very big deal here. Here we can see it. We then also see that Mars in Taurus is closing in on his MC. The MC is, of course, very publicly visible, but Mars will then also square his natal Mars. So I think he is going to announce something very important, something very positive with this conjunction, and then it's going to create some trouble. Some people are not going to be in favor of whatever he's going to have to announce, and then there can be some kind of battle here a few days later, actually, especially more by the end of June, as Mars will then conjunct his MC as well. So this is like the first half of June is going to offer so much opportunity to build like new alliances, strengthen a lot of relationships, and it can also create like stability before the atmosphere is going to become a little bit more unpredictable, because we're also going to see a new moon in the sign of Gemini, and of course that will be at 24 degrees right on his birthday, so on his sun. So I could do a whole video about this chart alone for the month of June, as it is so spectacular and so important. All the things that are getting triggered here. This is going to be a massive month full of change, and the fact that he also has a new moon on his birthday, that is also very important for his solar return, as that is being totally infused with a lot of new beginnings, like a new kind of clean slate, and a lot of like a very big new start in regards to his visibility, and also in regards to how other people see him with the sun in the 10th house. So of course, with Mars square Mars, that is something that we're going to need to be a little bit more yeah, that is a little bit more difficult for him. I think he will need to protect himself from hidden enemies once Mars is conjunct the MC. There can be another public attempt, or assassination attempt, or some kind of public conflict with hidden enemies, or something that had been happening behind the scenes suddenly becomes public in a major way. So that is also very strongly in the cards here for the month of June. So, yeah, I really think he's going to sign a very important economic partnership here that is going to be very, very positive for the people of the United States. So, also, um, and I think it's also going to lead to some kind of positive development in the global investment market, something in those regards. I'm very interested and very curious how that will play out. To continue with this monthly forecast, we of course also on June the 10th see a Mercury square Saturn. That is like one of the more difficult transits for this month, but Mercury square Saturn, that is really about very important, intense, and serious conversations. So it brings a lot of seriousness in the air and a lot of responsibility, and there can be some kind of pressure or some kind of important decision. But do not crack or do not make the important decision if it can actually wait. Definitely also because Mercury just squared Neptune, there is confusion. And then the Mercury square Saturn, it's not about giving up, it's actually about getting realistic. So what needs more structure, what needs more boundaries, and it's very important to look at your long-term planning. So wow, Chris Cole, that is important. I pulled one card for Donald John Trump, the Ace of Cups. Yeah, there's like something very positive trying to happen here for him and for the people of America, for sure. So thank you for sharing that, Chris. That is a beautiful card, the Ace of Cups. Wow. Then we have Uranus in Gemini squaring the nodes of fate. You guys, this is a very important one. So the true North node, or like the true lunar node, will square Uranus exact on June the 12th. The other North node, the one that I mostly use, will do that on June the 20th. So between June the 12th and the 20th, that is going to be a week that is going to be very, very like about unexpected change. It's a very revolutionary aspect, you guys. The last time we saw it, there were major protests, a lot of people on the streets, and of course, this is like a collective crossroad and a very important one. Gemini, of course, it's about communication and social media and the exchange of ideas, but it's also about like the media and trade and business. And that is why it is so difficult to try to predict anything in regards to Uranus. It's like almost impossible to do that because it's always about expect the unexpected. What we can expect are like major technological breakthroughs or some kind of groundbreaking scientific discovery, or significant announcement in the news. Can be connected to transportation systems for sure. So, of course, there is going to be some more social unrest and some protests, strikes, political upheaval with this, a lot of unexpected geopolitical developments that a lot of people are going to be looking and reading the news and they're going to be like, oh, wow, what is happening now? We were not expecting this. This is really like the energy of June 12th, especially until the 20th. Also, is Uranus in Gemini right now is moving with Sedna, and that is actually a dwarf planet that is actually connected to oceans, the deep collective forces, and it's also very strongly connected to the power of nature. Unfortunately, we can see some extreme weather during this time as well. So, on a more personal level, this one is really going to try to push us outside of our comfort zone, and a lot of people are going to feel a little bit scared by the unexpected changes, but it's actually good if you feel a little bit frightened by the change. It is actually a positive sign that you need to step out of your comfort zone, and there is just change on the horizon that we cannot escape. So of course, I'm gonna do a whole other video about Uranus and Gemini squaring the nodes of fate, of course, because there's so much to say about that. Just remind yourself unexpected things, geopolitical madness, and a lot of revolutionary energy up in the sky that is also gonna play out in our personal lives, of course. Then on June the 13th, this is such a beautiful one as well. Venus is going to enter the sign of Leo. And of course, Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. And when it enters Leo, it just becomes way more passionate. It is about being bold, being expressive, being romantic, very theatrical, a little bit dramatic, but also very creative, honestly. Venus in Leo, she wants to be seen, she wants to feel warm, she wants to feel alive. So that is why it supports romantic, creative beauty tendencies, and it's about also performance and fashion. And there's just gonna be a rise in confidence, and in pleasure as well. It can get a little bit dramatic, but still, Venus in Leo is like one of my most favorite transits here during this month. So, yeah, guys, where have you been hiding your light? It is time to shine. So, do not hold back. Do not hide yourself. No, this is such a powerful period, and it's going to be a 3 week period to reconnect with your joy and to feel more inspired, to want to dress up and show your beauty, go on a date, allow yourself to take up more space. That is definitely all about Venus and Leo. And this month it just holds so much beautiful gifts. I cannot really wait to look and feel and really tap into the energy, definitely from the 8th until the 15th is going to be a very, very interesting time to be alive, you guys, with Uranus squaring the nodes of fate as well. Squares are normally a bit more difficult, but the north nodes and when there are squares to the north and the south node, then that is way more distant and way more karmic and way less difficult. But it's Uranus. Uranus is really about disruptiveness and unexpected things coming through. So yeah, I just know that the blessings that are going to be incoming are going to blow people's socks off in a very positive way, but some people are going to be like, whoa, this is like what I was not expecting. So yes, Mary Beth, time to shine for sure. um John says, I wonder about actors. Will they be exposed for taking on roles of supposed experts, newscasters, too much bad info out in the public, especially in the health department? Yeah. Well, John, it's actually very important and cool that you're bringing this up because actors are also connected to the sign of Leo. And John, on the 12th of August, we are going to see a solar eclipse in the sign of Leo. So that is going to be a whole lot about what you're now touching upon, John. Then there is going to be a lot of exposure during the next eclipse season. Uh, all right. Mm, all right. And next, let's switch the slides because on June the 14th, we are going to see a new moon in the sign of Gemini. So Gemini, of course, deals with ideas, communication, learning, writing, speaking, the media. It also is connected to our siblings, our local environment, local travel also, and our technological devices, and of course, the news cycle, and especially the mainstream media. Now with Uranus in Gemini, we are going to see the first new moon with Uranus fully ingressed into the sign of Gemini, so we can expect a lot of new alternative news platforms or news medias to be brought on the stage with also Venus and Leo. So of course, new moons are always for planting new seeds. So yeah, stay flexible, stay curious. Gemini is very adaptable, and a new moon here, it is always about being open-minded. Maybe we do not have all the answers, but we are gonna receive some kind of new idea or new detail that is gonna send us in like a complete new direction. And Gemini also rules over things double. So there can be new pieces of information being brought to you that are gonna give you like a new sense of direction. Of course, Gemini is also connected to like, or this new moon is very positive for launching a website, starting a new course, writing, podcasting, blogging, creating content, important conversations, especially with neighbors and siblings. So yeah, this one is going to be a pretty big deal in those regards. Now, um, Gemini, of course, also deals with like transport, education, media, so and journalism. We're gonna see a lot of whistleblowers during this moment in time. New information being leaked that is gonna quickly lead to like new action being taken. So new information that are gonna create new timelines and new truths that are gonna be emerging as well with Uranus co-present into the sign of Gemini as well. If we then look at the chart for the US again for this new moon and Gemini, very important. Here you can see the new moon and Gemini. It's pretty close towards Mars, you guys. This is gonna kick off some more conflict with. That is why, like, I do see, like, in the first 2 weeks of the month that there is some kind of opportunity for a peace deal or some kind of negotiation. But I think in the 2 last weeks that there's going to be another emphasis on war here or on conflict or on open enemies in some kind of way. But there's a new seed being planted. So, of course, there can be like new more defensive strategy. But definitely Mars, it is connected to like military action and conflict and competition and aggression, national security. All of that is strongly connected to Mars, of course. So yeah, the period between like mid-June, mid-July is going to be so significant for the world stage, and definitely also for the US. And um, this is like kicking off a new chapter involving like foreign policies and military strategies, or some new kind of initiative in regards to defense. And there are going to be a lot of important things getting triggered in regards to national security matters. That is definitely for sure. And you can also see here that there's some kind of country overseas, or like far away, that is not being like honest, and like that is also being triggered, or like being brought to the forefront here. And I think we all know who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to pronounce the name in, yeah, for the algorithm. So of course, like intelligence operations, cybersecurity, that is all gonna be such an important theme here, and especially trade negotiations and some kind of new diplomatic maneuvering here connected to war and open enemies. And the fact that this new moon also happens like around the same time after Iran is also squares the nodes of fate, that is definitely very unpredictable energy here. And yeah, June is going to be very good for our personal lives, but on a geopolitical stage, we are going to see some very big changes, and unexpected new paths being illuminated and also being walked upon, things we would not expect to happen. So, also, here we can see the chart for the president, Donald Trump, for the new moon here for June 14th. And here you can see it. It's, of course, also the birthday of the president. So this is very spectacular, as it is right on top of his sun here. So also, this is like, of course, the sun. That is always like your identity, your leadership, your purpose, your visibility. And when a new moon activates that, that is like when the individual of the chart becomes very central to like the unfolding events. And there are going to be new opportunities emerging, a fresh cycle that starts to take shape here as well. So actually, June is going to be a particularly important month. A lot of things are coming together. A lot of things are going to start to fall into place. The actions, the statements, the decisions, all of the public appearances are going to attract more considerable attention than usual. So he is going to initiate something new. He is going to enter a period where everything is going to become like increasingly prominent in like the public conversation. So the fact that during this new moon, Mars is also so close towards the MC here. This is so publicly visible. It is actually the midheaven, as of course the point that is connected with your public reputation, your leadership, your career, your visibility. So it's actually showing how one is perceived on the world stage. And when Mars is on the midheaven, it's highly action-oriented energy, also very closely connected to war and military and conflict. And it does suggest here that he's going to take a very bold, decisive kind of move or action, or some kind of very strategic initiative here. And he's going to be very willing to take risks, but he's going to have to be very careful, because a few days later, Mars is going to square his natal Mars, and he's going to have to be very careful for hidden enemies here, or some kind of hidden power that is going to clash and going to cause some kind of issues. So this is not at all passive energy, you guys. This is very action oriented. It is very hot headed, honestly, and this is very much activating knives, guns, bombs, aggression also. And it's either gonna come out from him, maybe towards Cuba, or it's gonna be projected onto him by other people, and especially by those behind the scenes, people that we do not know about, because Mars is in the 12th house here and it's going to make a square towards his own natal Mars. So that is an indication of very difficult clashing, like alpha male testosterone clashing energy. That is like how I can describe it. And that is actually for everyone who has a Mars square Mars. So that is not a personal opinion or statement at all. No, everyone who goes through a Mars square Mars. This has to be careful of not getting hurt, but especially the president, because he has Mars conjunct his rising, and his rising is his body. So this is actually definitely June the 28th. Mark your calendars. On June the 28th, Mars is going to square off the ascendant or the rising exact, and that is going to further amplify whatever he has then been known for or has been announcing. And there is a very big likelihood of a very significant development, public development even. So also on the 28th of June, Mars will be here, but then Mars will jump over into Gemini and conjunct Uranus. So we all know that Janine and JC have been talking about the 4th of July for quite some time. It's so strongly correlated within the astrology that there are gonna be some very big events happening, and especially in the last week of June, that is gonna really push through a lot of the things that they have been trying to do. So yeah, buckle up, because the end of June, especially the first week of July, is gonna be bonkers, you guys, and that is very strongly witnessable in the astrology. So um, all right, I think I've said it all. I was just quickly looking at the comments. To continue, we of course here on June the 15th, we have Venus sextile Uranus. Venus sextile Uranus is very surprising and can feel very exciting. Look, you guys, at Venus doing all those, making all these transits and aspects within the same couple of days. Venus is like very active in the entire month of June. Very striking for me to see. So here, Venus sextile Uranus, unexpected positive things. Then try Neptune, very beautiful for artistic, spiritual, romantic. It's soft, and it's actually one of the most beautiful, creative aspects of the entire month. Venus trine Neptune. That is like putting on your rose-colored glasses, but without really jeopardizing your own safety. It's a trine that is beautiful, and it brings a lot of compassion and romance and forgiveness also. And this is a very big indicator of like emotional softness. There's going to be some kind of idealization, and there is a very beautiful, magical feeling in these skies. So enjoy your dreams, but do not ignore reality. Very beautiful if you work in like the fields of film, music, spirituality, glamour. All of that is gonna be emphasized. Then on June the 17th, that's going to be a little bit more difficult, Venus opposing Pluto, because then we can see that there's like an aspect of power, desire. It can also be a little bit obsession and control. It's definitely kicking up the emotional intensity. There can also be jealousy during that day, or some kind of financial pressure. This is definitely going to put pressure on the stock market, you guys. There's going to be some kind of transformation happening. That is definitely the case. And we can also see some scandals in regards to celebrities and a lot of drama and relationships. And yeah, a lot of issues involving like wealth, and especially like wealth inequality. And there are also going to be revelations that will be made connected to technology, and like companies that are connected to technology. Think about like Sam Altman and all those guys. Have you also seen that like a lot of the AI and like I've read that Starbucks canceled out their Claude AI program because it was just like not fully working correctly. And I've read other corporations as well that were like having and experiencing a lot of issues with AI. And I think we can really see an AI bubble bursting in the next 2 years. And I can see like the first signs of that. And this day will be another day that is going to highlight that for sure. On the 19th, Chiron is entering the sign of Taurus, and I'm actually going to do actually a whole workshop about that. So tomorrow on June 1st, I will launch the Chiron, or Beyond Mystic is going to launch the Chiron and Taurus workshop. But for now, I can definitely say that this is like beginning a whole new cycle that is connected to healing, about our value and money and our resources. Of course, Taurus rules over our body, our food, the land, and also our self worth. So I'm working out, nearly finished the preparation for the entire Chiron and Taurus workshop that I will be hosting for you guys, because this is going to be so important. Taurus, it is connected to our stability and to our survival, and also agriculture. That is going to be such a big theme. If you already managed to grow your own food, then you will be a step ahead of the game here, in this matrix, because Chiron and Taurus is definitely going to highlight issues in regards to our food even more, and trying to heal that as well. But definitely, biggest topics are going to be farming, inflation, scarcity, sustainability, and how we relate to the physical world, and how we are going to get hurt in that in order to be able to heal some wounds. So yeah, more on that later, but definitely very important transit of the month of June. Then on June the 21st, we are seeing the sun entering into the sign of Cancer. So happy birthday for all the Geminis, and by the last week of June, all my Cancer sun signs, because then we see the longest day of the year for the Northern Hemisphere, because we are seeing the summer solstice. Very beautiful, magical day where the veils are getting very, very thin. Very important to do some ceremonies or rituals during that specific day, as they are carrying a lot more potential of magical blessings. So of course, this is, yeah, the day when the light reaches its maximum for the northern hemisphere, and this is definitely a very big snapshot about what the energies are going to bring us into the equinox. So when we look at the chart for the summer solstice, we can see some important things. First of all, of course, we see the sun at 0 degrees of Cancer. That is always the case in the chart of the summer solstice, of course. But what are we seeing? We see Mercury and Jupiter pretty closely towards one another. And of course, this chart carries the energy until the equinox. I just wanted to underline that again. So we can really learn a lot from this chart, because it holds a lot of, it's going to carry the energies until the autumn for the northern hemisphere. So of course we see Venus in Leo making very beautiful aspects still. She's connected to a lot of outer planets. We can even also see that the sun is actually sextiling Chiron, newly found in Taurus. So, a major emphasis on healing our emotions and our connection to our own body and self worth. And this is really about like it's earth and water. So, yeah, it's like watering our own earth and filling our own cup, and a major big highlighting aspect that is gonna be bringing a lot of healing energy for us. So that is like an aspect that I really, really, really like and to see in this chart. So also then of course we see Mercury and Jupiter, and of course that points towards knowledge, and of course this is like about discoveries, revelations, new information being. This is like a sign of disclosure, you guys. So that is definitely something that we're going to see in the next couple of months, especially around the 12th of August. It's going to be connected to ancient Egypt. There are also rumors, like, they're not really rumors anymore, about the second Sphinx. And that is all just going to be deeply integrated into this chart. And we're going to see so much more information about that. That is definitely for sure. Because Jupiter is about higher wisdom and Mercury is the messenger of the gods. So the fact that the moon here also sextiles it, that is just like very, very beautiful and supportive energy, you guys. So new information is going to emerge. Debates are going to follow, but definitely some new kind of missing piece or missing link is going to appear within the next couple of months. That is a certain given. It's a given certainty here in the chart. So um, yeah, this is actually one of the most powerful days also of the entire year. So for yourself, more on a personal level, what nourishes you? What brings your light? Where do you feel seen, heard, and safe with the Sun in Cancer? Yeah, you can even make a very big new discovery about yourself and your needs and your emotions and how that actually shapes your reality. That is actually going to be a very important chart, and maybe I'll do a whole video about dissecting this whole summer solstice chart. But these are definitely the most important key factors that you guys need to know. Then on June 25th, Venus is going to trine Saturn, very beautiful for creating more commitment or stability within your relationship, but also within your finances. Saturn brings a lot of, it's like about the foundation, and it brings more stability after like the Venus opposition to Pluto. So this is definitely going to support commitments within relationships, new financial long-term planning, loyalty, maturity, and this one is like favorably, favorably helping us to act with courage and responsibility. On the 25th as well, the Sun is going to square Neptune, and that can be a day where we feel a little bit foggy as well. Venus trine Saturn gives a structure, but then Sun Neptune can bring confusion. So if you do not have or know the entire clarity, just know that it's normal, surrender. Do not make any important decision on the 25th. Sun square Neptune, it can make you feel drunk without even touching a single drop of alcohol. You're also going to notice that in people around you. Not the best day. You can also feel tired, low on energy, overwhelmed with uncertainty, a higher level of emotional sensitivity. And we're going to feel like, okay, we don't know where we're heading. Do not force any decision. Reflect, rest, meditate, and surrender during this day. Because a couple of days later, on June 28th, Mars is going to sextile Jupiter. Now, guys, Mars sextile Jupiter, that is also something to really look forward to. And that is going to give us a lot of boost in energy after feeling very tired here on the 25th. So if you feel a little bit depressed or mer on the 25th, take a little bit more rest so that you're ready for the 28th to make good use of this energy, because this is another blessing, you guys. Mars is our energy, it's our force, it's like our movement as well, it's our manifestation power, and Jupiter is going to enlarge that. Together, these two, they always create confidence and motivation and a lot of courage and forward momentum. So, yeah, this is actually something to look forward to. Take action on certain goals or plans. That is definitely going to help you here. Unlike, yeah, do not doubt, because some people are going to feel stuck within this energy, or maybe a little bit uncertain, and then a few days later there's the whole vibe switch and people are still going to be like projecting maybe this energy onto others, or like being a little bit suspicious. But do not hold back here on the 28th. That is definitely a day to just like make it happen, and then yeah, just go full force for it. On the same day, a little bit later, a couple of hours later, Mars is then going to enter Gemini. That is also going to be Sorry, you guys, I'm still a little bit sick, but I'm glad to be here today to be able to talk to you guys because I've spent most of my time in bed this week, which is honestly very frustrating for a fire Aries. So I'm glad to be sharing my energy again today. So Mars in Gemini, all right, the pace is gonna change dramatically because Mars in Taurus was like slow, wanting to go full force ahead with the brakes on. Now Mars in Gemini is gonna be very fast, verbal, restless, and mentally sharp. So our energy is going to pick up speed and we're going to feel way more motivated to learn, to speak, to write, to travel, to debate. Also, very good energy to multitask. But then on the other side, it can also bring a little bit of mental overstimulation, also arguments, because Gemini is how we speak, Mars is conflict. There can be, again, a little bit more impatience or scattered energy, but stay flexible, stay open-minded, make sure that your words do not cut someone because words can come a little bit more sharper and people are going to be way more outspoken and more argumentative and a bit more reactive, but I rather have this energy than Mars and Taurus, so that is definitely going to be better. Use your words like as some kind of tool, please do not use them as a weapon. And also know that Mars is now closing in on Uranus, but Uranus that will be in the first week of July. But here, from this moment in time, Mars is going to start to pick up the energy of Uranus in Gemini, and in the first week of July, especially on July 4th, even 3rd, 5th, there's gonna be a lot of cosmic fireworks, you guys, especially around the anniversary for the states. That's gonna be something, you guys. But more about that in the next forecast. But I already want to tell you guys to buckle up because Mars and Uranus together is definitely a conjunction. The last time that these two were in contact, that was actually on February the 28th when the first strikes happened on Iran. So now that was the closing square. Now we're so many months later, and now they're gonna come together, Mars and Uranus. So Uranus is like about explosive, or like, yeah, it's like about frequency, overheating. Mars is about heat, explosions. These two together are very unstable and very explosive, honestly. So I would be very, very careful with choosing fireworks. I would actually not do that on this specific day. I'm especially mentioning that for people in the States because there's gonna be fireworks enough. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And also, then of course, we end the month with Mercury stationing retrograde at 26 degrees of Cancer. So it will be over the important conjunction of Venus and Saturn for President Donald Trump. Then it's also going to be exactly at the Mercury of the United States. It's just going to be very, very important. Everything in regards to business agreements, trade deals, some kind of opening, hopefully, and reopening, full reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. I really hope that we are now heading into like a better direction with all those regards here and these transits as well. So Mercury retrograde on a personal level, that is like, yeah, Cancer, whew, such a sensitive emotional sign. Mercury retrogrades are always about revising, revisiting. Not a good idea to sign a lease, not a good idea to move, not a good idea to change your mortgage or some kind of loan. Every paper that is connected to your house, just like put it off. Wait until August. I'm like telling you guys, I once bought a phone with a Mercury retrograde in my third house of communication, and yeah, I knew that it would be I knew it would be like a lot of giving me a lot of problems, but I'm still like regretting that until this day. But that is only a phone. Now, like in the sign of Cancer, that is about our houses. It's gonna add a lot more weight in the scale, honestly. So if you are moving between June 29th until July 23rd, not a good idea, honestly. Just sharing it with you guys. And of course, Cancer is also connected to family stories, things from the past, our ancestral lineage, emotional patterns. A lot of decisions are going to be relooked and revised in regards to housing or who lives with you. There can be roommates moving in, moving out, a lot of changes, but definitely do not change your place of residence if that's possible during this time. Otherwise, you maybe will need to move again after the retrograde is over, because there's going to be like an issue that comes up that you overlooked, also with your Uranus squaring the nodes. And yeah, it's just like also Sun square Neptune, not the best time to do that. But a lot of people are definitely going to reconsider where they live, who they live with, and what the kind of emotional environment is that people truly thrive in. And after the retrograde is over, people are going to make changes with that. So yeah, anything involving renovations, property purchases, homes, leases, mortgages, family business, that is going to be coming a big time, but be careful when signing something. Not the best idea. Also, if you make travel plans, make sure that you like file out all the paperwork before the end of June, so you do not have to redo things or reapply for certain visas, or just like giving you already, you still have like a month of time to prepare for the Mercury retrograde. But this like all the Mercury retrogrades this year are going to be in emotional water signs, so that's always more connected to our intuition. But now, Mercury, of course, disposits always back to like Gemini, because Mercury belongs to Gemini. But who's newly found in Gemini? It's Uranus, and Uranus is shock surprises. So this is going to be the first Mercury retrograde that is going to deposit back to Uranus. And Uranus, it's very, very, very difficult to predict. It's always about unexpected things coming up, shocks, surprises. Things that are not stable, just like breaking down. So that is also why I'm saying, like, if you're gonna move now, it can be disruptive and it can create more upheaval than, for example, other Mercury retrogrades that we had prior, also in the sign of Cancer, because then we didn't have Mercury dispositing back to Uranus in Gemini. So from now on, the Mercury retrogrades are gonna get a tad bit more insane, honestly. Because Uranus is now in Gemini for the next 7.5 years. So every Mercury retrograde in the next 7.5 years is going to be creating a little bit more upheaval, honestly. So now that we know that, not the best time to move, not the best time to sell your home, not the best time to renovate anything or to sign some kind of contractor or anything in regards to that. So yeah, just don't do it. All right, then to end the month on June the 29th as well, the same day of the Mercury retrograde, we're also going to see a full moon in Capricorn. So Capricorn, of course, that is always connected to institutions, to corporations, government, like people in a top position, yeah, authority figures, people who are connected, like, or maybe an important CEO, important political figures as well. And this one, you guys, this one is going to be extra intense because the full moon will be at 8 degrees, and 8 degrees is a Scorpio degree, you guys. We can even see a death and transformation and something very important happening in certain government structures. It's also squaring Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn. Yeah, we're going to see some heads roll. I'm very sorry to say this, but that something is going to happen with this one. It's going to cause confusion. It's going to create hardship in some kind of way for people in a top position. I'm not talking for you on a personal level. Do not freak out, please. I'm just like talking on the world stage. We see a very big T square towards the ruler of Capricorn, Saturn. This is not good news, you guys. I hate to say it, but it's gonna be a tough nut to crack, honestly. So, it's gonna shine such a big spotlight on the state of our institutions and also the people who run them and what their true intentions are. And there are gonna be a lot of questions around responsibility and also accountability. And if certain leaders have been throwing temper tantrums with the sign of Aries here, or are being selfish or egotistical or creating war that are actually causing a lot of troubles and issues, then we can see some karmic payout. And I'm talking about all world leaders. I'm not thinking about one in like one specific one, but this can be the time when karma is going to be due. So more on that later. Of course, there's going to be some kind of truth emerging that it will not be able to ignore. And the justice, like Saturn is the lord of karma. The fact that he squares the full moon in his own sign where he normally likes to be is a big deal, you guys. And we also see the Mercury retrograde kicking off, conjunct Jupiter. So there's going to be some kind of new knowledge that is going to create a lot of revisiting and putting a spotlight on who controls us and how that's not for the benefit of the people, and some kind of karmic readjustment being made. It's going to be a big deal, you guys. So yeah, the month of July is going to be more intense because, of course, this happens by the end of the month, and it's going to have a very big implication on July. And then in the next eclipse season, the energy is going to start to come in, and July is going to be way wilder than June, honestly. So, if you guys have any questions, yeah, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat or in the comments. On the personal level, full moon in Capricorn, that is more about like what is working for me, where am I putting my time and energy into, what is sustainable, what plan have I just like fulfilled on or completed in that took a very long term or took a long time to complete, and what structure is giving me foundation. Is there some kind of structure that is like outlived, that has served its purpose, and redoing anything? Of course, Capricorn is about putting in the hard work. It's a very yeah, it's a colder sign. It's more about like career and business and our long-term goals, and also our public reputation and our responsibilities. So whatever responsibilities are like weighing heavily on our shoulders, that can become very obvious during this time with the square to Saturn and Aries, you guys. So Chris Cole says, what does June say about investments in crypto? Well, honestly, here we can already see it in the chart that Mars is about to conjunct Uranus, and that is going to create losses for crypto here. So you can take some gains. If you have some gains, I would take them on June the 9th with the Jupiter-Venus conjunction. That is always better for like investments and also for taking profits and blessings. But honestly, I do not have a lot of trust in the whole crypto market. I do not think that is going to be the answer, if I'm totally honest with you guys. So, with that being said, oh my god, I am almost forgetting the most important one. Jupiter is gonna enter Leo, you guys. Oh my god. Another one that I have been like counting down the days for. So, Jupiter entering Leo, that is gonna be such a wild ride, you guys. Because, oh, it's going to be a year long in Leo. And of course, Jupiter has spent the last year in Cancer. That was expanding all the themes of family, belonging, home, emotional security, and our protection. But now, Jupiter in Leo, the energy is going to become way more expressive. Leo is about our creativity, visibility, our confidence is going to be expanded. And Leo is also a very dramatic sign. So Leo, of course, rules over leadership. and like almost the entire Trump administration all have very important Leo signatures. Jupiter is gonna blow everything up. So yeah, the Trump show, you guys, it is gonna go next level, starting with Jupiter and Leo. So grab your popcorn. Be careful for overeating the popcorn, because things are gonna get even more wild. So I'm just already throwing that out there. Leo is also about like performance, children, romance, the entertainment industry, celebrities, fame, confidence, and Leo also rules over the heart. So Jupiter is gonna expand whatever it touches. So the next year we're gonna see a major expansion of all the Leo teams, which I'm actually pretty excited for, you guys. This is a time to step into our visibility, to be the creator, to be the performer, but an authentic performer, not like overperforming. I'm not saying that, because the South Node then by the end of July is gonna enter Leo. Everyone who's overperforming or faking or being over dramatic is gonna get karmic rewards. So, rewards, repercussions is better words. So, of course, Leo is also about like entrepreneurial capabilities. If you want to build your personal brand, then this is gonna be so supportive. And this is saying stop hiding your light. So, celebrities, whatever's happening with them, wow. Royalties, that's also connected to Leo. Influencers, entertainment industry, luxury brands, but also this is gonna expand the issues in regards to children. And Jupiter is gonna oppose Pluto as well. That is gonna be, for those of you who know what I'm talking about, that problem is going to get expanded, you guys. So, with the release of the Epstein files, I think that was some kind of psychological warfare, honestly, and it's gonna get a little, it's gonna get way worse with Jupiter and Leo. Now, Jupiter is also the protector, so I think some more stuff is gonna come and reach to the surface, but then after Jupiter passed the opposition to Pluto, it will be able to cast more of a protectionate energy or like field around the children. I hopefully we're gonna see some more children getting born, you guys. I really, really hope so, because we do have issues with fertility. Maybe I'll do a whole new video about that as well. Of course, Jupiter and Leo, this is gonna be so positive for all the fire signs. Yes, Maribeth, living from and with my heart more and more. That is so beautiful, Maribeth. Yeah, Chris Cole, Pluto opposition. Jupiter is going to oppose Pluto. So this is like the final straw of like the whole celebrity culture, in my opinion. I think Hollywood is already dead, but Jupiter and Leo opposing Pluto is gonna be like the last final straw. And I think next up are gonna be like the influencers that are gonna be heavily coming under scrutiny. So yes, a lot of disclosure and the public eye. You can look at like Pluto and Aquarius as the public eye, because Aquarius is like society and the collective, and Pluto is like bringing up everything from the like under the surface. Then Jupiter expanding everything in the sign of Leo, children, celebrities, people who are famous, that they're gonna blow up their own ego, and they're gonna be so dramatic that people are gonna become very tired of it. And I think it was about time. So, on a personal level, very beautiful transit to look forward to. So, yeah. Also, am I forgetting something? I do not think so. All right, you guys, maybe let's take or pull a card before I do the 12 sign readings to see at what the cards want to show us for the month of June. It's gonna be a good month. I can feel it. I have been waiting for it. Take a couple of deep breaths before July starts, and definitely August with the solar eclipse in Leo and Jupiter blowing everything up as well. And that is gonna be the biggest drama show of our lifetimes. I'm already telling you that now. But it's gonna be a good summer. I can feel it. Let's see what the cards have to say. Hmm. The mist, trust your inner compass, be led from within. So yeah, we have a couple of squares coming up with Neptune that could definitely portray to the, or be connected to this card. But the mist is definitely clearing up, you guys. We're going to see this Mercury square Neptune in the beginning of the month, and we see Sun squaring Neptune more towards the end. But I actually feel that the mist is not really what the card is trying to say here. It is more about trusting your inner compass, be led from within, and that can be more connected to Jupiter, because Jupiter in Leo is really about all the things that make us happy, that are like about ourselves, and Jupiter is going to expand that. And oh my god, the card this showcase like a light beam onto her heart. So yeah, our hearts are gonna be shining again with Jupiter and Leo. That is definitely the case. And I'm gonna try. I'm gonna take another one. Yeah, it's definitely putting a spotlight on the hearts. So it's definitely connecting to Jupiter and Leo this. This one, the sirens, use your voice expansion freedom. We are still in Gemini season. And of course, Gemini season is the sign that is connected to using your voice. And also be very, very careful, because during Gemini season, the words we speak can create our existence or like our reality in like the blink of an eye. So, expansion freedom, that is definitely also connected to Jupiter, and it's wrapping up the final blessings through Cancer. So the final transit through Cancer, that is definitely also expanding our intuition and our emotion more before we then dive into the sign of Leo and become more authentically ourselves. So whenever a planet nears the end of a sign, before it jumps over, it tends to give us the benefits of that sign. So now it's Cancer. I know a lot of Cancers have been waiting for the blessings. Well, do not freak out by thinking, oh no, Jupiter is going to leave my sign. No, there's still a month of time. And mostly before he jumps over, he gives out the beneficial energy. So be open to let that in. Candace says, anything positive showing the flip for Canada? Well, actually, I'm planning on doing the solar returns for Canada and the US. So, more information about that soon. I actually didn't fully check the chart for Canada with the Venus Jupiter conjunction, and I actually should have done that. So, thank you, Candice, for asking me that. I will be giving more attention towards that next time. Thank you so much, Maribeth. Um, yeah, Chris, the devil, the star, and the lovers. That is an interesting combination. And thank you guys for dropping that all in the chat. All right, let's start the 12 signs, and I will be very quick on that. Why is it, yes, like this? All right, I will be very quick on that because I still feel it a little bit in my voice, and I really need to save my energy for the astrology sessions tomorrow as well. Because I feel when I talk too long, I start to feel like my voice is becoming a bit weird again. All right, let's start with my fellow Aries sun, moon, or rising. All right, so you are going to have the full moon in Sag. Did I not include the full moon in Sag? No. Okay, I only included the moons for June. So if you want to know more about the full moon in Sag, I actually posted a whole video about that on my Astrid channel. So if you want to know more about the full moon that we are having today, you can also check that out. So for Aries, the new moon on June 14th in the sign of Gemini will be in your third house. And the third house, that is of course connected to communication, learning, writing. Can be about an important new contract coming in just before the Mercury retrograde. Can also be about the neighbors. And oh my god, you guys, like for the general public, the neighbors are gonna come up so strongly with the Mercury retrograde in Cancer. So just quickly also uh, throwing that out there. But for Aries, the third house is also connected to local travel. So this is like a new chapter beginning around how you communicate your ideas, how you connect with the world around you. Very positive energy for launching a website, starting a course, teaching something, writing, podcasting, or simply developing like a new skill that becomes very valuable in the future. The third house can be about busyness, can also be about technological devices, being on the road. So these are definitely your themes for the new moon and new seed that is being planted. Then we look at your chart ruler, which is of course Mars. It's moving through your second house of income. The second house is your house of finances. So a lot of what you're learning with the new moon in the third, or what you're saying or communicating or negotiating, will have a very big direct impact or connection to your money. So the new moon can bring in new clients, new sales opportunities, new contract or business ideas that are gonna improve your financial situation. So pay attention to all the conversations that you're having, because like one piece of information could totally alter your financial situation during this time. So yeah, also be careful about like impulsive spending. I would be very, very mindful about that. Mars in a second can also cause loss of money if you're being too reckless with your finances, so be careful. For the full moon, that will be the one in Capricorn, and this one will be in your 10th house. So the 10th house is career, your achievement, your reputation, visibility, your leadership, your life direction. So actually, this is one of the most important full moons for you on a professional level. Something that you've been building since 6 months ago during the new moon in Capricorn is now reaching some kind of completion. You can either get a promotion or even a new job or some kind of public recognition, a shift within your career, a major decision, maybe important news from your boss, maybe your boss shifts, a change within like authority above you. It can also be something connected to your father as well. Then Mars is about to, oh, Mars is already in Gemini, but Mars is about to conjunct with Uranus in your third house. Aries, I'm gonna say it with a very big warning light. Be very careful on the road here. Be careful for accidents, please. Be careful for what you say. Your words can be like bombs, and we're already used of that. I can say that as a fellow Aries, but this is wow. Be careful with what you say, with how you say it. Do not go driving when you're angry, and you're gonna have to tone yourself down a little bit. Otherwise, it could have like you or ending up and getting fired with the full moon. Full moon are releases. 10th house, your boss, your job, your father. What you say is having an impact on that as well. So be very careful, Aries. Good luck. We have Taurus and moon or rising. You're going to have a new moon in Gemini in the second house. Of course, this is energy that you're very familiar with. The second house is connected to Taurus traditionally. So there is a new seed being planted within your income, your possessions, your self-worth, and your values. And that is going to open up a whole new chapter around your money and your financial security. So you can have new opportunities to either earn, invest, monetize your skills. All of that could pop up, and this is definitely a very good new moon for setting new financial intentions, for thinking very strategically about your long-term stability. And with your chart ruler Venus now in Leo in your fourth house, family and home matters are so closely connected to your financial decisions here. And Maybe some of you are going to want to move, renovate, invest in property, but be very, very careful with the Mercury retrograde in your third house that is about to kick off on the 29th. If you want to change anything in regards to your house or your home or people that you live with together or family bonds, if you need to sign anything, do it before the end of the month, you guys. Definitely for you, very important. Um, yeah, you're gonna have some kind of very important development on those themes that I've mentioned here, my dear Taurus. Venus in the fourth can also be very good for having like a lot of beautiful harmonious energy between your siblings and also your family. You just had the Venus Jupiter conjunction in your third house that can also be about the neighbors, but especially also siblings. If we then look at the full moon, then we can see that you're going to have a full moon in Capricorn in your ninth house, and that is the house of long distance travel, publishing, legal matters, spirituality, personal growth. So, something that you've been learning or working towards is finally going to come to completion here in the ninth. So, maybe you could have a certification, you could graduate from a certain course, you could publish something important that becomes very widely seen or read. You might receive legal news and wrap up a legal case. You can also make significant travel plans, but I would strongly advise you not to do that. If you come back from a trip, that's okay on this date, but maybe not the best time, because this is also the day when Mercury retrograde starts in your third house, and it's in your house of travel and transport and being on the road and your technological devices. Double check your car, maybe make sure everything is all right. If you do go on a road trip, you're going to have some delays. Count it into your schedule and you'll be fine. Good luck, my dear Taurus. Oh, and also then Venus trines or already comes off of a trine of Saturn in the 12th. Yeah, you can have some very good um you're going to have some very important conversation like behind the scenes, or maybe not your whole family is going to know it. It's going to be some kind of important information being shared to you by a family member that you might need to keep secret in some kind of way. That can be the case. Good luck, Taurus. We have Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're gonna have the new moon, of course, in your sign. So this is like the most important new moon for you the entire year. It's in your first house of identity, appearance, your personal direction. You can also be having more energy and wanting to self-express, and it's gonna be a little bit more disrupting with Uranus now in your sign, and people can be surprised of what you have to say. So it's actually going to be funny. You can use a little bit more of shock therapy during this time, but in a positive kind of way. You're here to revolutionize from now on with Uranus in your sign, and maybe you're going to feel inspired to reinvent yourself in some kind of way, or to change how you look, like change your image, launch a new project, pursue maybe a new goal that feels more deeply aligned with your newly found inspiration of Uranus in your sign. And Mercury is, of course, your chart ruler, and it's been traveling in your second house of money, where it will also go retrograde. So there are a lot of financial concerns, definitely also during the retrograde here, that's going to get kicked off by the end of the month, and that is going to be so closely tied to your personal growth. So this is like a redefinition with your relationship to abundance and how that affects your confidence and how you value yourself. A very big reviewing and reassessment of your self-worth, and also how family members and your upbringing has an effect on that until like today. So there's like a new seed being planted within your identity, and you're gonna let go of all of the patterns within inside of your brain that are connected to these patterns of upbringing, and you're gonna release that during the Mercury retrograde. Be careful if you buy something or if you have a big cost, save the receipts. Mercury retrograde in the second house, you might need them, like the warranty or the receipts, or like really save all the important documents connected to purchases. If we then look at the full moon, that one will be in Capricorn in your eighth house. That is another financial house, but that is more about shared resources and investments and debts and taxes, and also in regards to intimacy. And it's also the house of transformation. So, yeah, financial matters, the eighth house that involve other people, that is going to reach some kind of transformation or turning point. And maybe you want to change something within your loan and your mortgage or your investments. But be careful with the Mercury retrograde in your second house, also finances. Really check the fine print. If you do not have to sign anything, wait until the retrograde is over. But this is definitely a very deeply transformative full moon. Old fears, attachment styles, patterns, especially codependency, can be let go of. This is a portal of release. It can also be the release of some secrets that are going to be tied to your money. Maybe your partner is doing something with the money and now it comes out, and now you need to reassess your own budget. That is like the first thing that comes to mind when I see this Mercury retro in the second with a full moon in the eighth. So that will definitely be a theme, and I wish you good luck, Gemini. We have Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You are gonna have the new moon in Gemini in your 12th house. That is a bit more calm and inward than other signs. And of course, you are already like more introvert, and new moons in the 12th house always put like an emphasis on that. So, uh, 12th house is connected to endings and closure, but also spirituality and your intuition and dreams. So you can have profound new dreams. A lot of messages from the subconscious mind are going to pop up. So you're not doing something externally, you're actually turning more inward during this time. And you're actually preparing yourself for when the sun enters your sign on the summer solstice, and then you will feel more visible, more seen, and you're also going to have a Mercury retrograde in your sign later this month. Big month for you, Cancer. You have the beautiful Venus Jupiter conjunction in your sign on June the 9th. Count your blessings, make space for abundance, be open to receiving. The moon is, of course, your chart ruler. So the new moon and the 12th makes you especially sensitive towards the blessings that are going to happen, and also the energy of this month. So pay so much more attention to your dreams and to the intuitive nudges, and you're going to have way more synchronicities than other months. So that is going to lead to profound emotional insights, and something hidden is going to get revealed, and that is going to allow you to heal you and move forward with like greater clarity, especially after the retrograde is over for you. So yeah, Cancer is such a important month for you. If we then look at the full moon, that will be in your opposing sign of Capricorn in your seventh house. So seventh house is about marriage, partnerships, clients, contracts, important one-on-one relationships. So some kind of relationship might deepen, other might end or like evolve, or you might reach some kind of crossroad, and some of you are going to commit while others are going to realize that maybe some kind of relationship has run its course, and that's going to come to like a natural conclusion. Doesn't need to be causing a lot of upheaval. And of course, you are always way more in tune with the moon cycles because the moon is your chart ruler. So this is like especially significant. And I'm reading a comment. Chris says it's my birthday, July 5th. Oh, that is so beautiful. Chris Cole, already a happy birthday to you. Very interesting birthday with Mars conjunct Uranus, Chris Cole. This year is going to be one for the history books for sure. A lot of surprises and unexpected turns, Chris. Wow. So, of course, yeah, the fact that it's in your opposing sign, this is like pointing towards a very big transformation connected to relationships because it's at an 8 degree. 8 degree is a Scorpio degree, so this full moon is gonna go a bit deeper in how you identify yourself also in connection with your partnerships and how you mirror each other back and forward. And that is going to get more apparent for you this month. So good luck, my dear Cancer. And I will do a whole Mercury retrograde video in Cancer. So be sure to also check that out. All right, my dear Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, you're going to have a new moon in Gemini in your 11th house. And your 11th house is connected to friendships, to networking, to also your community, your like minded people, social media, organizations, just like your like-minded tribe is being found in the 11th, so you can see the start of a new friendship with this one. It's also like a wish come true house, so it's also very future oriented. So yeah, new people are gonna enter your life, and maybe they're gonna help you move closer towards your dreams, but you can also be involved or become involved with a new group or a new community, a new professional network. That can be very important for you, Leo, because of course the sun is your chart ruler. So this is asking you to think more clearly about the future that you're creating with the 11th house, and if your current environment and especially your friends, if they support your growth. Maybe some of you are going to realize, like, maybe I need to collaborate with others. Maybe I need to try out new groups, new environments where I can meet new people, and then you can start to work together on like a new exciting project. You might also have more opportunities through social media, through certain types of technology. And if you are invited to social gatherings or like networking events, you need to say yes. Because if you meet people there during this time, they're gonna play or could play a significant role in your success. So do not hide yourself, my dear Leo. You are not born to do that. You are born to shine. And on the end of July, on the 30th, Jupiter is gonna enter your sign. And here we can see it, Venus is already in your sign. So June is going to be a very important month for you, especially the end of June. But with Venus in your sign, you can feel more charming. Love gets more magnetically drawn to you, as finances as well. You're going to feel more seen, more loved, more admired. Venus and Leo is going to give you or bring you more compliments. And I know we all know you really like that, my dear Leo, and you also deserve it. You do not need to hide your light, my beautiful Leo. If we then look at the full moon, that will be in Capricorn in your sixth house. Full moons, culminations, sixth house is the house of work, your health, your daily routines, responsibility, but also your productivity. The sixth house is also the house of misfortune and stress. Full moons can mean a release of that. So either a work project is coming to completion, you reach an important milestone or deadline at work, you can get recognition for your efforts. Maybe some weight is falling off your shoulders. Maybe you realize that the current schedule that you have been doing or maintaining is actually no longer sustainable for you. And the sun, your chart ruler, is in the 12th house. And it actually bounces its light back and forward to the sun in the 12th. You need to make a better balance between work life, and maybe you need to rest a little bit more. Better balance between like ambition and well-being. And you might need to improve your health also with the full moon in the sixth, and that is going to have an impact on your on your mental health as well with the sun in the 12th. You maybe want to change job. If you want to apply for a new job, perfect. It's about like creating a new daily system that support the life that you are deserving of, my dear Leo. So good luck. We have Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're going to have a new moon in Gemini in your 10th house. Now, this is a very visible and important full moon for you, my dear Virgo, because the 10th house, that is the one of career, reputation, your visibility. It's also about your leadership and your achievements and like recognition. So maybe there's going to be a new opportunity that is going to emerge in the work sphere where you're going to be put in a new place, maybe in a more prominent position, maybe at another floor, maybe in another department, maybe somewhere higher, because it's the 10th house, is the top of the chart. Yeah, well, some of you might receive a promotion. Perfect time to launch your own business as well. But definitely, it's about more public recognition for your specific expertise, and it can be very positive. And of course, Mercury is your chart ruler, and Mercury, of course, is also the ruler of this new moon, and it's in your 11th house, where Venus and Jupiter just made their conjunction. Blessings in some kind of dream. The 11th house is about dreams. If you are self employed, then this can mean, especially around the 9th of June, some kind of payout for work well done. The 11th are the payouts from the work that you put into the 10th house. So maybe June the 9th is going to be a very big motivation, or a new seed that is getting planted, in which over the next year you're going to start to earn more money. And that can be followed by this opportunity on the 14th that is going to be like new kickstart in some kind of way. That is definitely a possibility here. And this is actually very positive because Mercury is your chart ruler, Virgo. So market something, network, writing, teaching, speaking. Very important part of your job here, Virgo. So do not hold back. Mercury in the 11th is also about, and definitely with the Mercury retrograde in the 11th, friends or people from the past that are going to help you with your career and the year ahead. And with Venus, Jupiter also in the 11th house, wow, you're going to have some very big blessings in new friendships or in people that are going to help you make more money in the next year. So, yeah, it looks very positive, Virgo. If you then look at the full moon in Capricorn, that one will be in your 5th house. Be very careful with pregnancies, you guys. With all the blessings and the 11th house sphere and all the gatherings and happy celebrations. And yeah, I'm just saying, if that is followed by full moon in the fifth house is where things want to get born. And the 5th house is romantic energy. Maybe you're gonna get introduced by a friend around the 9th of June, and then by the end of June, something starts to like complete in some kind of way, or you get to know each other better, or like you can have a lot of fun with friends. It can simply also be platonic, but still there is an opportunity to meet someone through your friend group. So of course, the 5th house is also about your creative abilities, children, entrepreneurship, self expression. So you might complete something within those realms as well. So then the Mercury retrograde in the Mercury retrograde in the 11th is going to bring you back into contact with a lot of people from the past that are going to be either seeking closure or going to have some kind of positive effect on your future. So good luck, Virgo. We have Libra Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're going to have a new moon in Gemini in your 9th house. And that is the house of travel, higher education, publishing, spirituality. It's also connected to legal matters and personal growth. So yeah, you are gonna plant a seed to expand your horizons. That can be through learning something new, teaching something, or like travel long distance. The 9th house is also the house of the Buddha, God, or like religion. You can also like simply explore a new philosophy of life. Venus is your chart ruler, and Venus just freshly entered Leo in your 11th house. So your relationships and especially friendships are going to play a major role in this expansion in the night. So you can either meet, even you can even meet a mentor, a teacher, through a friend that is going to help you open like up a door that is going to change your perspective. So also very beautiful lunation for launching your own course or selling or publishing your book, or planning some long distance travel. If we then look at the full moon for you, my dear Libra, that will be also in a cardinal sign, of course, in your 4th house at the bottom of the chart. And the 4th house deals with home, family, roots, your property, and also emotional security. So, of course, a lot of like matters are gonna come up in regards to like involving your family members or some kind of living situation or some kind of property. All of that is going to reach a very important turning point. So some of you are definitely going to want to move, renovate, or purchase property or experience some kind of significant emotional breakthrough. But I would be advising you to be very careful with the Mercury retrograde in the 10th. But maybe you're going to be forced to move because Mercury retrograde in the 10th can be about unexpected changes within your career, and maybe you find a new job or you going back to a job from the past, and by that you need to move something in regards to that. Mercury retrograde in an angular house with the full moon here in the fourth as well. It's about balancing your home and your career life, for sure. So good luck, my dear Libra. We have Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Well, my dear Scorpio, you're gonna have a new moon in the eighth house in the sign of Gemini. Of course, Gemini and the eighth house, it is very familiar energy, my dear Scorpio, as it is the traditional Scorpio house. So there's a new seed being planted in the realm of shared resources, investments, taxes, loans, inheritances. It's also about intimacy, psychological healing, and personal transformation. And this is not a superficial new moon, my dear Scorpio. Something is shifting beneath the surface. Yeah, you're changing your relationship with trust and power and your financial dependence as well. Now, of course, Mars is your traditional chart ruler, and it's moving through Taurus through the seventh house. And that is the house of partnerships and significant relationships. So other people are really going to become the catalyst for change and transformation here. Can be a partner, a client, a spouse, a business associate, or even someone just like someone else pushing you to look for something that you've been avoiding. So it's definitely also a good time for new investment strategies, for looking at your loans and your mortgages before Mercury goes retrograde. Look at tax matters, significant financial agreements involving other people. So release the old baggage, Scorpio. This is about a very big rebirth for you. If you then look at the full moon, full moons are portals of release. That happens in the third house in Capricorn for you. So the third house is, of course, the house of communication, contracts, teaching, siblings, transportation, writing, the media, technological devices, and also your neighbors, of course, and your local environment. And wow, Vicky says I have three Scorpio placements: Mercury, Mars, and Neptune. There's a lot of Vicky, but yeah, I still remember from our astrology session together that there was some Scorpio energy, and that is very good for having investigative qualities. And then you have such a deep mind, so you're a deep thinker with Mercury, and then also Mars in your Scorpio sign. And John says the realization of Scorpion rising has been interesting for me. Yeah, aren't you? But are you Scorpio or Scorpio rising, John? I always like mix them up the two. So, of course, with this moon in your third house, there is something that you've been thinking about or something that you want to discuss. And it's going to be a very important conversation. And maybe you've been waiting on news to arrive or a conversation that is going to provide some clarity. Well, then this is definitely going to be the case for this full moon. So, maybe you're going to sign or release yourself from a signed contract or an agreement. Can be connected to either your partner or some financial issues or financial attachments. Maybe you're going to complete a course or a study or a road trip that is also important. But then, if we look at your chart ruler, Mars just ingressed into the eighth house. So that is carrying a lot of tremendous power. There could be some unexpected financial beneficial things, but not the best time to invest money under this full moon, but you can do like reap unexpected rewards in some kind of way. Be careful of what your partner is doing with the money. When you're married, Mars in the eighth house can sometimes cause to unexpected losses connected to the partner, especially if you're born with that natally. With conjunct Uranus, there can be some kind of unexpected surprise. And there can be someone telling you kind of like a secret, and then whoops, it's like connected to your money from your partner. That's definitely a possibility here in the chart. So be careful for that, Scorpio. Other than that, Mars in your eighth house, very big transformative energy for really releasing control and some kind of to find like the power and like the strength within yourself to release control. Uranus, if you like try to control other people, Uranus Mars together are going to create a lot of upheaval, so be careful with that. Expect the unexpected, especially in regards to other people's finances. There could be like cosmic fireworks going off for you, Scorpio, this month, especially during the end here. So a shocking, surprising conversation in which someone tells you something in regards to your finances. Good luck, Scorpio. All right, we have Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're gonna have a new moon in Gemini in your opposing sign, my dear Sag. So very important for you. And of course, we have the full moon in Sagittarius in your sign today. Go look at my personal Astro Astrid channel if you are a Sag and if you want to know more about this full moon that we're having today. But the new moon in Gemini will be on June 14th, and it will be in your seventh house. That is the house of partnerships, relationships, marriage, also business partnerships, contracts, clients, very significant one on one connections. So, this is a very important relationship reset point here for you. And some of you might enter a new relationship, others are going to strengthen one. You can attract new important clients, you can begin a new exciting collaboration. Jupiter is, of course, your chart ruler, which is wrapping up its transit through Cancer and is about to enter Leo, and then it will be making a fire trine towards your sun, moon, or rising. That is so cool. Yeah, I'm like, you, like stretch your arms wide open. Jupiter in its natal ninth house trining you. Oh my god, that's gonna be such good news. I mean, I'm like excited in your place. So, all the people that are gonna enter your life now, that's just totally not random. They're gonna challenge you. They're gonna support you. They're gonna teach you something. There can even be the start of a new mentorship or new guru. Be careful. Do not give your power too much away to that, of course. But you can find a new source of inspiration by someone new entering your life, and maybe they're gonna open up a whole new philosophical way of thinking. And of course, um, they're gonna help you into like a new version of yourself. And Gemini energy here, it also suggests that communication is key, definitely in partnerships for you, and conversations really determine the quality of your connections. And that can be even with people of a foreign or other cultural background than yourself, can play a very important key role in the next year ahead. So really look around, look at what's happening. Um, yeah, the seventh is a good house, and definitely in your opposing sign. That is going to be very important for you. So, if we then look at the full moon in Capricorn, of course, that will be in your second house, and your second house is your house of income, possessions, your money, your talents, your self worth. So, yeah, some kind of financial project might reach some kind of completion. You might receive a raise, you might close a deal, you might launch a new stream of income, you might receive more clarity about your own earning potential and about your own skills. You can even wrap up something and learn and like wrap up the learning of a new skill, and now you're being able to monetize that. That is also a signifier here. And Jupiter then, of course, is about to jump over in your ninth house. So of course, this is about like the bigger vision, and you're gonna feel inspired for new ways of creating new streams of income. And all Sagittarius love growth and adventure, and The possibilities are going to be endless. There is also like divine protection in the ninth house. That is so cool. During this time, look at your habits of how you earn and spend money. Look at your investments, look at your business structure, look at your long-term plans. You might have a source of inspiration by Venus and Jupiter that are about to like ingress into the ninth. You're also going to have the beneficial Venus Jupiter conjunction on June 9th in your eighth house. You're going to be blessed from other people's or by other people's money. You can have a windfall, pennies from heaven. You can have unexpected money that you do not have to work for yourself. And that is definitely a seed that is getting planted for the year ahead. But definitely, oh my God, Sag, you are in for a blessed and happy new like year, starting from when Jupiter enters your ninth house, but already palpable from the beginning of June. So that is so beautiful. And here Vicky says, would love to talk on the radio for an income. Well, Vicky, that is so cool because with Uranus in Gemini, a lot of people are going to start rebelling against all of the AI and all of the new technology. And I think radio is going to become popular again within the next 5 years. Mark my words. And I would love to listen to your voice while I listen to the radio, Vicky. So yeah, that is actually a very good idea. All right. Full moon in the second, my dear Sag, is also very powerful reset in like your self-worth. And money and confidence, they are deeply connected. And it's like you're wrapping something up with your own beliefs. Jupiter in the ninth, by then, it's gonna expand something. And you're never gonna be able to look at yourself again. And you're gonna be like, I know my worth. I know how much I ask. Maybe I'm going to raise my prices, or maybe I'm going to do this or that, or a new stream of income, which is going to help me and even boost my self worth more. So good luck, Sag. We have Capricorns and Moon or Rising. We're gonna have a new moon in Gemini that is gonna activate your sixth house of work. Now, of course, Capricorn, we all know that you are fantastic at meeting deadlines, putting structure, providing stability, and this is planting a new seed in all those rounds because it's like your job office in the sixth house. It's like your daily routine and also your responsibilities, habits. If you're self-employed, it's about your employees. You can even over the next 6 months hire a new employee. If you work for a boss, it can be about your co-workers and the service that you bring towards your boss. So it's actually indicating a new fresh start in all of the practical areas of life. But look if your daily routine supports your physical well-being. If not, you might need to restructure something. Of course, Saturn is your chart ruler, and Saturn is traveling through Aries through your fourth house, which is a bit more difficult, Capricorn. So let me know how you're doing with that. Is there something coming up with family? Is there something coming up with your house? Are you just simply feeling a little bit more blocked in your emotion? This is definitely a 2 year period that has already been kicking off for half a year, where like all the old structures are being rebuilt in some kind of way. So this one is also going to help you to rebuild. And maybe some of you are going to need to hire some staff. Maybe some of you are going to want to change your job or implement some kind of better system, or a wellness system or journey, or just looking at your own health and well-being, and then look at how you can improve that, because that is then also going to improve your quality and your productivity of life. So that is definitely something to look at. If you then look at the full moon, it's actually your full moon, my dear Capricorn. So very important. This is going to be also squaring Saturn in your fourth house, your ruler. This can be the most emotional full moon for you, Cap, because yeah, it's in your sign, Cappy, and it's squaring your chart ruler in the fourth house, a very emotional house. Something might be coming up with your partner or happening within the life of your partner, or something might happen with one of your family members or like relatives that could leave you feeling a little bit emotionally strained. Honestly, it's squaring the ruler Saturn, so that is a little bit more difficult. Of course, the first house is also about your identity, your appearance, your confidence, and maybe you feel that that might take a little bit of a hit. If it does, it is trying to show you that there's something buried within your emotions that can be connected to your patterns of upbringing, especially your mother line. So look at that. But others might also have like a major realization about who you are, who you want to become for like the next year. And maybe some of you are going to want to change something in how you look. Maybe you want to also redefine a certain goal, leave behind a certain identity. um yeah, this full moon, honestly, my dear Capricorn, it can feel like a very big reality check. Look at where you've outgrown certain situations, also even ambitions. Stop defining yourself by who you've been and start defining yourself by who you truly are or who you want to be, detached from the family patterns and conditioning from them. Of course, Saturn can also be the father in the fourth house, but still, there's still like more of an, yeah, karmic mother line thing that gets triggered here. So good luck, my dear Capricorn. We have Aquarius and moon or rising. All right, my dear Aquarius, you're going to have a new moon in Gemini in your fifth house. It's in a fellow air sign. Very positive for you, my dear Aquarius. The fifth house is the most, like, a new moon in the fifth house. It is the most positive new moon of the entire year for you, my dear Aqua. So, fifth house, romance, children, passion, creativity, self expression, entrepreneurship, joy, fun, letting your hair down, leisure time. A new seed is getting planted after all the years of like all the heavy energy of Uranus in your fourth. You now have the first new moon co-present with Uranus in your fifth house. So it can be an unexpected pregnancy, Aquarius. Be careful, but it's definitely about passion and creativity and enjoyment. So Saturn is your traditional ruler. Uranus is your modern day ruler. So you need to blend like structure with a lot of innovation. There can be an important new like inspiration coming through in regards to a creative project. There can also be a new unexpected romantic connection coming in. There can also be um, a new kind of personal passion gets sparked in which you can even maybe monetize your creativity over the next 6 months. That is also possible here. But for a lot of you guys, this is going to be a romantic new moon, and new relationships can really like emerge out of the blue very unexpectedly, especially connected to like social networks, online communities. So do not hide yourself. If you then look at the full moon Aquarius, that one will be in Capricorn in your 12th house. So that one is more silently, more inwardly. It's more about like the introvert qualities. The 12th house can be the sign of endings, but it can be like a spiritual ending or an ending of a pattern of self sabotage. So it does not necessarily need to be bad at all. It's about healing, about releasing subconscious patterns that are blocking you or your growth, and especially your growth in your career. And can be about needing more solitude, feeling a little bit more tired, needing closure and time alone. Just listen to that if you feel that that's happening for you. This full moon is not going to be like outwardly visible, and it might not produce like these immediate external events, but internally it's going to be incredibly profound. So tune inwards, and that is definitely going to be helping to heal you. Something is being released, an emotional pattern, a fear, a limiting belief, something that has quietly like run its course. So do not worry about that and tap into the more mystical side of life, my dear Aquarius. We then have Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So, my dear Pisces, of course, like let me know how you are doing in the chat. Of course, you're gonna have a new moon in Gemini in your fourth house. The fourth house, it is in a fellow it's in an mutable in a fellow mutable sign, but it's squaring you by sign. So it's in a very emotional house in the fourth house. The fourth deals with your family, your roots, your emotional security, your ancestry, Can also be about property, your actual like place of residence, can be about your private life as well, but especially family is going to come up. So this is like a new beginning and a new seed in like the more foundational areas of your chart. It would be very wise to do some kind of cleaning at home, cleaning out your closet, just doing like a summer cleaning that is gonna make you feel more free at home with Uranus now freshly into the fourth house as well. So yeah, there is going to be some kind of significant development in where you live and who you live with together, what's going on in the home. Then of course Jupiter is your chart ruler and it's wrapping up its final like days in the transit of Cancer, and it's actually been trining you for the entire last year. So these were like, that was very positive, but especially around June the 9th, Jupiter and Venus will be coming together in the sign of Cancer and trining you. The most blissful day of the year is trining you. I forgot to mention that for Scorpio, I guess, but that is like very, very positive. Of course, Jupiter is preparing to enter Leo at the end of the month. So yeah, you need to strengthen or like get the strength to enjoy the last days of Jupiter in a fellow water sign before life is going to become way more busy and way more expansive than usual. Jupiter in the sixth can give like an overdose of work and things to do. So yeah, if you're looking for a job, you can find like the job of your life, or or at least something that you really like to do with Jupiter in the sixth. If you already have a job, it can bring a lot of expansion within the sixth house of work and like your daily business and routine. So prepare yourself for that. Some of you are going to want to move homes with the new moon in the fourth. Be sure to do that before the end of June, before Mercury retrograde kicks off in the fifth house of Cancer. Luckily, it's also going to trine your sign. That is also positive. And it's Mercury retrograde is going to bring something up in connection to romance or your children or some kind of paperwork that is connected to your children. That is also very possible here. You're also going to be rethinking your passion and what makes you feel alive, and what brings you fun and enjoyment as well. If we then look at the full moon, that will be in Capricorn in your 11th house. And the 11th house is the house of friendships and also social circles. It's like your communities, your like minded people. There can be an important networking event or some kind of gathering or celebration. The 11th house is also the house of goals and like dreams. This can be like a wish come true or wish fulfillment full moon when it happens in the 11th. So maybe you release a friend, but not in like a harsh kind of way, just because you've outgrown and there is someone new coming onto your path that is more of a like-minded kind of person, someone who's going to help you. Or maybe if you're in a community, then a project might come to a completion as well. Maybe you're going to gain more clarity about the people that you want besides you, and as you like the people that can walk alongside you in your future. And that is going to become very obvious here during this time. By then, Jupiter will almost like the next day on the 30th will jump into the sixth house. So, yeah, that is going to be very beneficial if you want to have a new job and feel more alive or want more appreciation or validation within your daily habits and routines as well. If you struggle with health, be careful to look at the liver as that is connected to Jupiter. Maybe some of you are going to be, if you struggle with your liver in the next year, then you might need to look at the pattern of being afraid to be seen in some kind of way. That is just a little tip that I give you guys, and that will be only for a small amount of Pisces that are looking right now. But yes, your productivity is gonna like explode in some kind of way. So find something that you really love to do on a daily basis, and it's gonna give you more opportunities to then build upon that further. So yes, All right, that was it for you, my dear Pisces. Thank you so much, John. I'm glad that I could have given you the forecast today, as I struggled a little bit with my throat and my health and the flu in the last couple of days. Very happy that I was able to do it and to inform you guys about this very beautiful month ahead. It's like one of the most positive months of the entire year of 2026. So be open to receiving, just like expect the beautiful things to fall onto your lap. And if you already like know and feel that it's gonna happen, you already like embody it. You do not operate from a mindset of scarcity anymore. And then Venus and Jupiter will be able to even hand out more to you. So do not be afraid of success. You deserve it. Own it. Do not be afraid to get seen with Jupiter about to jump over into Leo as well. Things are gonna get better, and finally, fire planet in a fire sign that is gonna be cosmic fireworks for sure. I've been counting down the years. Like I have been waiting for Jupiter in Leo since Jupiter was in Aries. So that is like 3 or 4 years ago. So yes, finally time to celebrate, to just like embody our confidence to but first we also have the beautiful Venus Jupiter alignment coming up on June the 9th, so all of that looks very very positive. Yeah, release the need to hide yourself and hide your true self. Fortune favors the bold, and Jupiter and Leo is going to really reward the people who are not afraid to embody the authenticity and to not be shy. Like Leos are never shy. Like that is why Leos get hated upon massively, because when you walk into a room, it's like the room just like catches. It's like on fire, and they shine. It's like the sun. It's like a diamond, and when Leos walk into a room, it's like they run on like a catwalk. It's like a runway when they enter the room, and everyone is like done staring at them, and it's impossible to hide. That is why some people are a little bit jealous of Leo. They can be loud, they can be brave, they are beautiful, they are radiant. And with Jupiter in Leo, all of that energy is going to get amplified for all of us. So that is actually very, very welcome and very positive. So I wish you all a lot of blessings and a lot of good luck, and may the true love and abundance and happiness that you seek find you in June. So thank you guys all so much for being here with me today. And I wish you all a lot of luck. So thank you. Bye bye.